My name is Karen Jernigan. It's Friday, August the 27th, 2021. And we are here in King City to have a conversation with Joanne Banuelos about her roots in the Salinas Valley and King City, California. We are doing this on behalf of the San Antonio Valley Historical Association.
Oh.
So first, I'm going to ask Joanne for you to say your full name.
Margaret Joanne Banuelos.
Okay. Margaret Joanne
Banuelos.
And let me spell that to make sure that I've got the correct spelling, because that's really important. Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's traditional spelling. Joanne, Joanne, with an E at the end. And then Banuelos, Banuelos.
That's how I spell it.
Correct? Great. Okay,
Yep.
Thank you. I want to make sure we have permission to use this recording to educate people about history. So, Joanne, do we have your permission to share this information with others interested in history?
Yes.
Wonderful. So, in the room with us is videographer John Jernigan, who's doing the recording. And we have two guests, Leslie Ann Banuelos, Joanne's daughter, and Rose, her caregiver. Okay, so Joanne, we'd like to start off with your date of birth.
12/16/31.
So that makes you not quite 90.
No, almost.
Almost, so
16th.
89. Okay, and where were you born?
In St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's what I said.
That's a long way from here.
Yeah, I know it.
Were you born in a building or a hospital?
In a, I don't remember.
Okay. And then let's talk about how long have you lived in King City?
Since I got here in 1951.
1951?
Yeah, because I graduated high school here.
Okay.
At this high school. Gosh sakes.
And how long have you been married?
Well,
70? Is it really 70? Somebody told me that yesterday was your 70th wedding anniversary.
yeah, I think so.
That is an incredible accomplishment, 70
No,
years.
he's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
And I didn't have one until I saw him, and then it was that.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
No, I didn't want to lose him. I still don't want to, even if he has to die first, you know.
Well, okay, let's start with how you got to King City. I think you said it started with your mother.
Yes. And you know that she had been treated for tuberculosis or something like that. And she was sanitary somewhere close. I want to say in Illinois or someplace like that. And when she got out, she wanted to know where we wanted to go. And so we both, my brother and I, said California, because that's always been our name. And so that's where she decided to go.
So how, were you like a teenager then when
Yes.
she asked
Oh,
you?
yes.
And you knew you wanted to come to California?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, you're in from Minnesota, and the blizzards and the storms and the cold and the, you know, not any sun. And it's like California is the place. Not now, but it was then. We're busy doing other things.
So it was warmer in California and you wanted to come to California.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how did that happen? Did your mother, how did
You
she?
know what? We took a train.
Okay.
And that's the one out here that runs by the Paws Bakery.
Yes.
Yeah, And I hope we fix something that can cause it to run again.
I hope so too. It would be very nice if the train stopped here in King City.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Do you remember taking the trip from Minnesota you must have come to San Francisco or Oakland and then down to King City. Do you remember that?
No, no. My mother had to go to wherever that cemetery is. And so that's from there I left. And I don't even know how I managed to get here.
Wow.
Yeah.
But did you ride the train to come into King City?
Yes.
And you got off the train? Do you remember that day?
Oh, yes, yes. And it was easy to do. I just, because I fell off of things. And I could have fallen there, as far as getting to the floor. But I did manage. Yeah.
So you got off the train with your mother and your brother?
Yes, yes, and that was it.
And where did you go from there? Did you have a house or a hotel?
You know what? We took boarding room after boarding room. And it was awfully hard in those days because your families could always rent out a room or a place, and they would be able to take care of you and themselves. And so that's how we did it. And if it wasn't one room, it was another room in somebody else's boardroom. So it was boardroom after boardroom. And one time I lived in a place called, they gambled there, or what do you call it? Stack 'em up. It was gambling, and it was at the cross from the theater. So I was working above that at the, it was something about stack 'em up. They were pulling with something on the floor or the rug. No, on the table.
Was it like a card game or a dice game?
Yeah.
A card game.
Uh-huh.
And it was across from the theater?
Uh-huh. Right across.
I think you told me one time you were living across the street from the theater.
Yes.
Was that one of the boarding places that you were at?
Yes. So that's that. I worked there too, at the theater.
I think you told me that too. Were you a teenager or were you an adult then?
Yeah, no.
Were you a teenager? And when you were in high school?
I just graduated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you went to work at the theater?
Yes, part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Had to have my own money. And my mother was living on tips, and I couldn't afford to give her mine. But what I made, I kept for myself.
So what was your mother's name?
Alice Louise Huss. Or Deers. Or Huss.
H-U-S-S? Huss? Okay. And so did you say she was working as a server in a restaurant? Or?
Any of them, wherever they needed help.
Okay.
And she could be a bartender, or she could be a waitress, or she could do both.
Do you remember some of the places that she worked?
It started in Salinas at that one that's the pub, I guess it's called.
Okay.
Or it was. I don't know if it's there.
Okay.
And then she came down to King City, and with the Kiefer's was the first place she went and got hired, so that was that.
Home of the famous pink bean soup at Kiefer's. Do you remember pink bean soup?
Yeah, I do, but I don't remember anything about it.
I bet she served some pink
maybe
bean
she
soup.
did.
Maybe
yeah.
she did. Okay, so she was working as a hostess and a server and a bartender while you were going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a job part-time at the Real Joy Theater.
Yes, but then after that I became a long-distance telephone operator. That one ringy-dingy, two ringy-dingies, yeah, that one.
So did you work in the building in King City that was on the 300 block of Broadway?
Yeah.
My husband John's mother worked there too.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, and so you pushed you pulled the cords and And how did that work? When you worked at the...
No, I was an usherette.
Oh.
Oh, I see, with the telephone.
Yeah, with the telephone.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I just sat in front of a board and answered calls.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So that was after you worked at the theater.
No, both.
Oh, you were doing both at the same
Yes,
time? Okay.
yes,
Well,
yes.
they were only one block apart, so
Uh-huh.
that was easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you do at the theater?
I
you
was
worked
an
at-
usherette.
Usherette. And what did the usherette do?
She made sure you weren't talking. She made sure you weren't chewing your gum or you weren't going to mess up a seat. Yeah.
Did you carry one of those little flashlights?
Yes, yes, yes. And then you had to quit talking if I had the flashlight because then you were asked to leave. So that was just once or twice in the whole time I was there.
Most people were well behaved.
Yes, 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 yes.
So was it Ma and Pa Hobbles that hired you at the theater? Who was your boss?
It was a Hobbles.
Hobbles?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
They owned the theater, huh?
Yeah.
So do you remember anything interesting about the theater? Was it a fun place to be?
It was the only one. Wasn't it?
Yeah?
Yeah.
And people liked it to come there?
Well, he had first runs. He was very good about getting the first of something. And so it was the one you wanted to see. You wanted to see it there rather than driving for wherever you would have to.
Uh-huh.
So that way you made it worth your trouble to come and see the movie here, and then you could go home.
So do you remember seeing some famous movies there? Like, were there any movies you remember in particular?
Mm-mm. No, I could if I were to think about long ago, but no.
So I'm thinking now, if you were born in 1931, and then do you remember what year you graduated from King City High School?
1951. 1951.
1951 was your graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you remember anything? What do you remember about King City High School and going to school there? You said you only went 1 year?
You know, I was there for a short time, and I was told that a president came and he insisted we all get things that we didn't have, like swimming pools and things of that. And so there was somebody in charge of all of this stuff, one for this, one for that. And so King City was complete with the theater and with the recreation center. And so there was nothing left but the Kiefers or something like that. Yeah.
So do you have good memories of high school?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Yes. I remember walking to high school because I had, from my house, it's what was a pool hall. And I got there and I rested because I was tired, and I sat on the seat, and I sure, here, look, she's sitting on the senior bench or whatever, and I didn't know. I just sat down because I was tired. And so then it was quite a fuss about me being there, and for some reason sitting on the senior bench. No, that was not allowed. No.
You were already a rabble-rouser back then, huh?
I guess so.
You didn't even know
yeah. No, I wasn't rabble-rousing, but I was slow walking, and I was tired.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I did was sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody made a big deal out of it. And I didn't know what had happened. Still, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's happened to me.
Sometimes those things leave an impression on us.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so you graduated from high school, and then how long before you met Rudy?
Oh, I saw him on the start. They didn't have anything like that here in North or South. I mean, Minnesota. I had never seen anybody like that. And he was a Mexican, you know?
Really? So okay.
Yeah. But then,
And when you say that, you mean like he was tall and dark skinned and good looking?
no. He was in a uniform.
Oh.
He was a sailor.
Oh.
And he had his own car.
Okay.
And he could drive. And so that was easy to take me out. Yes. That was easy.
Did you just see him on the street, or did you see him at a
Well,
restaurant?
no, the guy at the post office introduced him to me because I had to get a mailbox there to get mail. And so when I was there to pick it up and to have a mailbox key, he was available. I mean, he was just happening to be there, and his friend, who was a postmaster something or other, introduced him to me because he thought being there and Rudy being there, and then I'm nobody and have nobody that would be fun. So that's how it happened.
And was this at the King City Post Office where it is now? Mm-hmm. That's where it started? Was at the King City Post Office?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So do you remember going out or dating or going to some places on dates?
Oh. If they are, they're just short or quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. There are some pictures here of Rudy when he was, in his uniform, huh?
Yes. There he is.
There he is in his uniform.
Yeah,
huh?
isn't he good looking?
I think you're right. He
And
is.
I've never seen one. I mean, I've done in Minnesota.
Yeah, St. Paul.
Yeah. So he really caught my eye.
Okay.
And then to be introduced, and then he has a car. I mean, he could drive, and he could drive me anywhere if I knew where I was going, or he was knowing where he was going. So that was that.
So you got married?
Yes, in my front room. My mother's border house room. Yeah, I have the envelope or the
album?
Yeah, show it.
The wedding album?
Just to show her the album in that one picture, and then I'll let her go.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that. So you got married in your mother's front living room. What, did a minister come or a justice of the
Oh,
peace?
it was, you know what? When I see, let me see the album.
Rose is bringing
Huh?
it. Rose is getting it for you. So
Oh,
you have to walk
okay.
past her.
Well, there's a judge, I think.
Hudson, was it?
You know what? I hate to say it now because I won't get it right, but he signed it, and he administered. He did it in the front room, and everybody sat around and came and watched, and that was.
Well, that's incredible because that was 70 years ago. That's amazing.
Oh.
They used to love to dance.
They did,
This
huh?
one,
Oh yes,
Oops.
that's one.
Yeah.
That's one. Yeah.
They used to cut a rug.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, do you know where this house was? Is it still there, or the? you
Oh,
call it
I
the
think
boarding
it's here somewhere.
house? Okay.
One of these.
Mm-hmm.
Not Mildred Street, but you know, because of Pearl and all the other ones that you
One of
named.
those, yeah.
But something like that. Yeah. It was.
That's lovely. So I'm interested to know what you remember. So you got married, and then did you start having children right away?
Oh no.
No,
Oh
you waited.
no.
Okay.
I was homeless to begin with, more or less. You know, my mother had met somebody and he married her, and then I didn't fit. So with my getting married, I needed a home, and so we had to build one.
Okay.
That's what my goal was, to build it, and wait for children later.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that for 5 years.
So what house did you build?
It's over on 6th Street.
Okay.
I
so
can't
it wasn't
rem-
here.
No.
Okay.
Was it Greenfield?
Greenfield.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you built a house in Greenfield.
It's beautiful.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She designed it Art Deco. She's quite a taste.
Hmm?
It was it was in Art Deco.
You designed the house?
Oh, I don't know.
Furnished.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of. I don't.
So then you must have come back to King City then after a few years.
Well,
in
he was
Greenfield.
working here,
Okay.
and he was making the new postmaster. He was postmaster in Greenfield, and then he got postmaster here.
Okay.
So he was traveling back and forth from Greenfield to King City, and that's how that worked.
So then you said we might as well move to King City, huh?
No, Janet Butchwright came and says, you know what, I see a house I want, and then you can have mine, and then you have to have so much of this and that, and then you can come here. And I thought, well, okay, but that's kind of like we just built a house, and, well, yeah, that works, because he's
Okay.
going to be driving,
Okay.
and it'll work for him, and it'll work for me. So that's John.
So you bought this house from
John
Janet
and Janet, yeah.
John and Janet Butchwright. Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been here ever since?
And I plan to be, except that they want me to move.
Yeah,
my-
well, you have pretty amazing children, and I'm sure they want the best for you. So
I hope so. I
That-
just don't know what it'll be like in something new. And I'm not one to adjust to new places.
it is hard at your
Yeah.
age to do
Oh,
that.
you
but,
tell me.
But if you are close to your children, that is a wonderful thing to do. But meanwhile, I don't want you to leave without you telling me a couple stories about King City and what you like about it and what you remember about it from a long time ago.
Mm.
So, what do you like about King City? You've
I
been here
don't-
50 years.
I know. And it was like we had a city manager and he wasn't doing anything. And I think he was, we had him forever. And then the city manager was, well, his wife was like a showpiece. And everywhere they went, she went to, da-da, sort of. But I thought, you know what, he's not getting anything done. And the gang problem was getting awful. And it was like, that's not my town. And so that's when I got involved.
And you got involved by writing letters or going to city council meetings?
You know, I brought the letters to the editor of my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay.
And then he said, we can't do that. We don't do that. We do it from your house to us. And then we print it and we look at it and correct it.
You're talking about the newspaper editor?
Yes.
Okay, so
Mr.
they wanted...
Sitz. Was it Mr. Sitz?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
then he wanted you to write a column about what was going on.
Yes,
in King
and I
City.
had no training.
No training.
No. And I didn't know computer. I didn't know the word delete. I mean, how do you find that?
Well, you probably only learned on a typewriter, right?
Well, I didn't know it at all.
You didn't even know a typewriter?
No, I didn't know about delete. Yeah.
But you
And-
started writing articles.
Well, I did because Paulette Bubbalo
Mm-hmm.
was a instructor at the Hartnell,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, if you take a class and you learn computer, you're gonna learn it here.
So you did?
Yes,
Good
I
for
made
you.
I made her show up for the I don't know what it is now, but I actually asked her if I could go and graduate? And she said yes. So that's how it happened.
So you finished the class and you learned how to use a computer. A little bit, huh? And then you had a computer here at your house where you could write articles and send them to the newspaper?
No, little tiny computer.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, it was.
But mostly, what did you write about? The things that were going on in town?
Mm,
The
Yeah.
businesses?
yeah. And ones that I didn't think were doing a good job about maintenance or things like that. And the other was, let's see. I don't know.
You used to write about events all the time, like
Oh,
about the murals and how the park was getting all refreshed and the
Okay.
agriculture was a big deal. You used to write about them doing tours and
I just remember our new president at the time, FDR, and he was installing things for cities that didn't have them, and it was kind of at a bad time. And cities that didn't have everything that we needed, like pools.
Yeah, that was called the Works Progress
Oh,
Administration.
there you go. Yes.
Yeah, they built our auditorium.
Uh-huh.
They built our city pool. Yep. Boy, you really remember.
No, you
Back a
do.
long way.
Listen to you.
Well, because I've looked at all the pictures and I've read the old newspapers. That's what is so great about what you did in writing articles, because those articles last for a long time. You find people, I go back and read old newspapers, and that's how I've learned about King
Joanne's
City.
got it?
Joanne's got it. Yeah.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Someday, somebody a long time from now will come back and they'll say, yes, Joanne wrote about that and Joanne's got it. And there's the date and there's the event, and it'll be preserved. And that's what is so great about the written word.
You got that picture?
which one?
One of me.
When you were the editor?
Yeah, no, when I was a writer.
Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That
You'll find it
it's
in the sack.
is it in your sewing room?
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's her going like this.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I did see one of those right down there. Is
Yeah,
that the one? The
that's-
little tiny one?
Yeah.
This is a proclamation from the city. So when you retired from writing, and I know you used to go to all the city council meetings.
Well, I wanted to know.
I know.
And you couldn't write it unless it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no way you could write it otherwise.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't want to miss.
Yeah. Is that the one you're thinking about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. That's the one. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's a nice one.
I was thinking all the time. Still am.
Yeah.
You know?
So you had to attend a lot of events in order to write about them.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Got me out of the house.
Yes.
And it was a short time because usually you had maybe an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or unless Karen was there. And you always had an extra question. And we'd be ready to leave and she'd say, let me ask you with this or that.
At the city council meetings?
Yes.
Well, you kind of taught me that somebody has to be listening in order to give feedback
Oh.
to the people that are making the decisions.
Oh.
And not very many people would go sit in the city council chambers. Sometimes
that
you
was-
were the only
yeah.
person there.
Yeah. That was sad.
But it was good in the sense that you could have an impact on
Yeah.
things.
Well, it was the way I learned because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I've learned everything, even now.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as knowing how to do anything, it's because I've tried trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me some of the businesses that you remember in King City that you used to go to? Like, where did you do your grocery shopping?
Well, I guess out there in the boonies, Safeway. Yeah, it was out there. It was out there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You remember Safeway used to be over across from the high school, and then it moved down to the shopping center?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
How about El Halou, Eddie El Halou, and Hesselbein? They used to be the jewelers.
Do you remember the jewelry shops? Hesselbein's?
Oh,
and...
God, yes. Yes.
Yeah?
And then this guy came in from some country
Uh-huh.
and lived here and bought the house across the street from me.
Yeah.
Eddie El Halou.
Well, yeah,
Eddie.
Eddie El Halou. Right.
Yes,
And his
yeah.
wife, Dorothy. Yes.
Yeah.
So were you customers of theirs at the
You
jewelry
know it.
store?
You know it. And you know what? he knew his stuff, and he didn't make you pay for it right away.
Oh.
And so it was all right to be patient with her.
Uh-huh.
And if you get it, well, like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he made it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my birthstone, and I've just had it ever since.
So Eddie El Halou made that for you?
Yes, yes.
From what was it called? It was called Broadway Jewelers, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
And he was your neighbor across the street.
Right, right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and you know what? I heard, what?
Hesselbein made this one, remember?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Hesselbein made this one, huh?
By hand.
Wow.
Did you get that from him?
Mm-hmm. You had them make it when I sold your house in Greenfield when you moved here.
Oh, okay.
So you're taking a little bit of King City with you no matter where you go.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes.
So what about any other places you remember?
I remember that he took over, who was the one before?
Hesselbein?
Yeah, and that was a big thing,
Mm-hmm.
big thing, because he went to ask for him for money he'd put aside, and he had none. And so he got mad, and then he left, and then he decided to open his own.
Oh.
And I think that was it with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened then.
And he was down by the bank. He moved down there by the bank, right next to the Rustler. Broadway Jewelers was.
Oh yes, okay.
Uh-huh.
But the family lived across the street,
Right.
and the
right.
mother he got from his country over here, and she went into business in Los Angeles, and got robbed and all kinds of terrible things that carried it for her.
Hmm.
Do you
Yeah.
remember Becky Tully's place?
Well, what?
Becky Tully, do you remember her? What was that? Was that
Ready Western?
Reddy
Oh, yeah.
Western?
You remember Ready Western?
Oh, sure, sure. She did a business, I'll tell you. Even though I didn't need a Western outfit, she was good. Yes.
Okay, but I see this article here about Queen Joanne.
Yeah.
So were you queen of the Stampede?
No, I was queen of. Oh, what was I that year? It was for some organization, and I represented them. It was a group of was it new businesses here or something like that? Like
The Optimists?
yes, the Optimist.
Yeah.
Yes,
You were sponsored by the Optimists
that's right.
in the Queen competition, huh?
Yeah,
And it looks like you made the front page of the paper.
looks like.
Looks like it. There you are. That's a
Yeah.
great smile you have.
Well, not only that, but I have a bigger one that's.
Oh,
Well,
I think one of the kids have it now.
And this says 1950. Wow. Stampede Queen. The
okay.
Stampede was before the Salinas Valley Fair.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
50 Stampede Queen.
I think they gave her a diamond ring, didn't they?
Huh?
Wow.
Didn't she also get a diamond ring for
Oh
winning that?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it was a pretty solitaire.
So this was before you got married because your last name here is Huss.
Uh-huh.
Huss.
Yes.
And it looks like you're in a Western outfit here.
I know.
Wearing some Western clothes.
I put on my brother's because when they told me I was going to have Western, I had nothing. And I thought, well, I'll wear my brother's, and I'll carry a rope, and I'll sit on a fence, and then that's it. So that's all I did. And
Well-
you know, there were some girls that were pretty mad because they were not only authentic, but they were also entitled to be, you know. And how did I do it? I don't know. And I was telling them I didn't know, and they were like, well, I don't think that's fair. But, you know, at the time, I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
So.
you just were elected, huh? They were the real cowgirls, but you got elected.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So you obviously were a mom, and you raised children here. Who can you tell me the names of your children?
Well, first there's Ray,
Okay.
and he's named after Ray Acapelli. Ray Acapelli was one of Rudy's friends.
Okay. All right.
And he represented us at our wedding. And so then when it came to children, and I had a boy, I thought of Ray.
Okay.
And that's why I named him Ray.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Ray.
then you had another
Boy.
another boy, two
Yeah.
boys. Okay. And what's
Yeah.
your second boy's name?
Robert.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
And then Leslie Ann.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you had 3 children,
Yeah.
and all your children went to school here in King City.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Were you involved in anything at school? Did you help with the PTA or with the sports, or did you just make sure your kids got to school?
No, I had a routine, and it was stop at Chamber of Commerce, and then just stop at somebody else. There was news every time, and there were a routine that I did. First, I'd shop, and then I'd go there, these places, and then I would go home, and I could write for the article that month or that week, and I would be done. So that was what I picked up with garbage as far as.
Do you remember Mustang Bench?
Oh yeah, it was.
About football?
Yeah, I remember it. Don't you?
Did your boys play football? No, I didn't. I didn't grow up here. I didn't come until I was an adult. So.
Yeah.
We went to high school here, but she was very involved with Mustang Bench. Oh, that coach, I can't remember his name.
I don't know anybody that was a cowboy then. Wannabe maybe, but I don't know now. Even then, there was one named Cash Whitney. You've heard of that, haven't you?
Sounds familiar.
Uh-huh.
Rancher.
Yeah. But they were not close to me or I to them. It was just word of mouth. So that's how that got going.
So, you have had a lot of years in this house and on this street. Have those been good years for you?
You know that Mildred Street, when I found out it was Mr. King's, I was in love with the idea that the street really was, well, and the other was Pearl. And
Mildred was one of Charles King's daughters.
yes,
And so was Pearl.
yes. Was there any others?
There were some boys.
Oh,
Yes.
we have boy names around here?
Well, there were, Charles King had boys, but they weren't, no, they don't have street names. Just the
Oh.
girls got the street names. Mildred Avenue. Yeah.
Yes.
Mildred Avenue.
And it's always been clean and pretty, and it's still right now. As far as going to a neighborhood, this is one you would want to go to.
And I think you told me that your house, one of the things you liked about your house here, 422 Mildred, was that your husband had a beautiful backyard.
Oh yes, we had once. Yes, we've let it go, but at that time it was beautiful.
He said it was like you said it was like a park back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took really good care of it. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would like to say that you feel is a really good memory of your time here? I know you might be moving to another place, and that would be...
It's going to be sad. I don't want to leave, and I look at everything here. I mean, from the quilt, my boy went and made a back there for the kids. Just everything here has memories.
Well, I'm sure you can take some of those things with you.
Oh, I know it, but it won't be the same.
It won't be the same, but nothing is. It's
No.
not the same now as when you and Rudy got married. It's
No,
not the same
no.
as when your kids were little.
The fact that we're still here together.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and above ground.
Well, I just want to thank you for all the time that you devoted to King City. And I think you made an impact on people by...
Do you?
Yes, by caring about what was going on here.
Do you think that guy does now? That's writing for the paper?
I don't think anybody will ever write like you did, but everybody's different, and you just...
Do you enjoy him?
Well, I like different styles of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just like King City. In fact, John and I, we just did a walking tour of King City.
Another one?
Today. We
Oh.
took... You remember Chris Lopez, our
Yes,
supervisor?
yes, yes.
We took Chris Lopez on a walking tour
Did
downtown.
you?
Yes. And it was wonderful because he's a great supervisor and he really loves King City.
Yes.
And when you look at people...
Gordo. When he was growing up, Rudy would call him Gordo.
Yeah, that was his nickname. That was his nickname.
Yeah, he was a little fat guy. And a little good guy, but he'd come toddling out, and then Rudy would say Gordo, or that way, and he would answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he liked...
And I can't believe that the Lopez's are still here and that he's still doing business with all the different cars that have come and go. And then do that one that was news about Studebakers, wasn't it? He had a business and he didn't make it at all. But at the time, Studebakers, I don't think were selling except for certain people. So then it was that, and he gone.
Well, I hope that you will keep all the memories that you have of King City, and you can play them anytime in your mind, no
Yeah.
matter where you go.
In my sleep.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And you have a lot to be thankful for. And,
Oh, I
you
know. I know.
And so, and that's a really good thing. So I appreciate you talking to me and letting us record some of these things that you talked about. I especially remember you talking about working at the Real Joy Theater. Oh, and what we didn't talk about was that you worked at Wells Fargo Bank.
Oh,
right?
yes, yes.
How many years were you there? A long
24.
time. 24 years at Wells
Yes.
Fargo Bank?
I still get the check.
A
still get.
retirement check?
Yes.
Well, okay. And were those good years at Wells Fargo Bank?
You know, they were the bank had hours that worked for me,
Okay.
and then all you had to do were feed with information at the front desk, and I was one that could do that. Yeah. So then it was like easy, and then home to work here.
So did you always work at the new bank on Russ and Broadway, or were you ever at the old bank that was down on 3rd Street where the
No,
pizza
that's
place is?
original.
Okay, so you were always in the new one.
No, an original.
Oh, you were in the original one?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And who did you work with? Do you remember the people that were there?
You know, I do, and I won't mention names, but I remember sexual harassment,
Oh.
and they would do nothing, and he would do it and giggle about it, and he'd get back to his desk and just, and I was saying, I'm happy, you know, I'm telling my husband, and he says, well, tell him to stop it. Well, I thought I would have Rudy do it, and he didn't do it, so I had to. And then Roberta, she was one of those that would put up with no nonsense.
You worked for Roberta Oswald?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, she broke the glass ceiling as far as being a woman and employed. Yeah. And,
Do you remember Bill Dye?
huh?
Bill Dye?
Bill Dye, yes. Oh, God, he was a pussycat. Yeah, he was easy to work for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very likable.
Yes, he was easy. Yeah. Anything, you know.
Did you have any other jobs besides the working at the theater and then working at the phone company and then working at Wells Fargo? Were those the 3 jobs you had?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all I had.
That's a lot of years.
Yes.
She also
Yes.
worked for Wells Fargo in Greenfield.
Huh?
You worked for Wells Fargo in Greenfield.
Oh, I know. I did that because they were changing here, and the one that was here was kind of a witch. And then Bill got in, and then they found out Bill was there. I thought I'm going to go there too, because
Because you liked him, huh?
Oh yes, oh yes, and he never made you to do extra, actually 3 o'clock, and then you went home.
You went home.
But
okay.
with him, it was easy. Some of those women were, here's a file cabinet and refile it and get it right, and let me find one that's wrong, and then I'm going to be on you. Yeah, yeah. She's dead now. That's Gentilini.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Well, anyway, I just want to tell you thank you for talking to us. And if you think of things down the road after we leave, if you tell them to your family or have somebody write them down for you.
I did. I wrote it all there.
And I love this. I think this is fantastic.
Isn't it?
It's great.
What's the name of it? It's
It says, "My story and history coming to King City."
Yeah, there you go.
So see, I wish everyone would do what you have done, Joanne, because you have, in your own words, you have written down your story from your perspective. And that is invaluable.
I think that time you were just so lonely, and everybody was, in 1930 was a hard time. And it was hard for everybody, but for a lot of us, And we kind of remember anytime we got some help, otherwise it was just a hard time. So that's how I can remember coming to King City. And it was during the 1930s.
Well, I'm glad you wrote it down because that will last for a very long time. I would love to get some copies of these for our file. That would be wonderful.
Whatever you need. And
Oh, really?
Then put back in our file, yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
that would be super.
Well,
So I think that's all. We've spent an hour, and that's usually about what we do. And then we're going to talk to Rudy a little bit too about some of the post office things that he remembers.
Okay.
And so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for the windows. Yes, I can't get over.